Yo, welcome back to my channel. If y'all know this channel called Ant Library. We react to things daily. Today we got a video. Was there advanced civilization before us? Make sure you leave a like and comment. And if you're new, subscribe. We almost had 60 subscribers. We 3 away. Let's see who will be my 60 subscriber. Let me know down below. But without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Was there an advanced civilization before us? Millions believe one existed during the last ice age, and that a cataclysm erased every trace. But
Before we even get into all the facts, what y'all think? Let me know down below. Was there an advanced civilization before? Was there people smarter than the people that are real smart today? Wait, hold on. Let me know.
I spent weeks going through the actual peer-reviewed evidence to find out the truth. Let's find out how long it takes to erase a civilization. For decades, the academic consensus was straightforward. Human culture slowly evolved in complexity, inventing agriculture, then civilization, only around 5,000 years ago.
I wonder how did people invent agriculture? How did somebody figure out, oh, we need this to grow this plant? We need fertilization. How did somebody know that we needed fertilization to grow this plant? Because as far as we know, the trees grew themselves.
Something strange emerged from the archaeological record. Agriculture didn't develop in one place and spread from there. It was independently invented in 6 separate regions, all after the Ice Age ended. That's a remarkable coincidence.
Bro, that's crazy that he said it after I just said it.
Author Grant Hancock has an explanation. 12,000 years ago, there was an advanced civilization that was wiped out by the catastrophic end of the last Ice Age. Survivors scattered across the world and seeded new cultures, which is why civilizations seem to appear everywhere at once. And honestly, the idea isn't crazy on its face. We know that the end of the last Ice Age was—
That's crazy, because on my other videos, I was like, how did people just scatter? If it started from Earth started from 2 people, so how did everybody just get around the world? And he's saying basically 12 or however many years ago, after whatever happened, people just scattered in different ways. And built different civilizations.
Temperatures swung violently during the Younger Dryas, and when it ended, sea levels rose by hundreds of feet, swallowing coastlines whole. So when skeptics ask, where's the evidence? Hancock and his supporters have an answer ready. The Earth ate it. The rising sea levels covered up coastal settlements while comet impacts caused global destruction. Villages were abandoned while advanced technology slowly corroded into dust.
Wow.
Randall Carlson,
Isn't there, what's that city or country? Is it either a city or a country? It's almost completely covered by water, but people still live there. I forgot what it was called.
Proponent said that if a cataclysm happened to our society, after 10,000 years, only Mount Rushmore and the pyramids would be left. And if that's true for us, there would be nothing left of a civilization that thrived all the way back during the Ice Age.
Yeah.
But would everything in our society really turn to dust in only 10,000 years? Luckily for us, a random 1980 study from the US Department of Energy answered just that. They set out to find the best materials to make nuclear waste containers that would last for thousands of years. And the results are catastrophic for Carlson's argument. First, let's look at steel, a material that corrodes quickly. Steel corrodes at a maximum of 4.8 inches every 10,000 years, meaning that a steel axe would almost certainly turn to dust in way less than 10,000 years.
Yeah.
But larger objects such as a solid anvil or engine block might still be around. And remember, 4.8 inches is the maximum corrosion rate. The minimum rate is only 0.73 inches after 10,000 years, so an anvil or an engine block would likely survive, especially if buried. Everyone knows that steel corrodes quickly, but what about copper? At a maximum,
I was just going to say steel corrodes quickly, but copper, I don't think copper corrodes that quickly.
Copper corrodes 0.54 inches every 10,000 years, meaning that if this copper axe blade sat exposed for 10,000 years, this is what it would look like. But if it was buried, it would take 29,000 years to corrode just half an inch. And
just
this is
half an inch take 29,000 years?
Confirmed by the archaeological record. Copper artifacts have been found dating back to well over 8,500 years ago. Many still—
That's another question I have. So if they find something, right? How do they know what civilization is it from? Or where did it come from? How we know they're just not making this up and just saying it came from this, but it really came from that? That's a question that I always have. How do they know that this came from this? How do they, you may say they have more artifacts from that, but how do they know those artifacts came from that also?
Great condition. If an advanced civilization with metal technology existed at the end of the last Ice Age, we would without a doubt find evidence. But we don't. What about gold? How would this gold coin look in 10,000 or 100,000 years? Well, just like this. Pure gold does not corrode whatsoever.
Oh,
If this supposed civilization ever made
didn't
a
know that.
gold ring, coin, or bar, we would be able to find one. But the oldest
that
gold
kind of answers my question though. Kind of, sort of. Because if they find a gold coin and it's written on it, this is from this, then you can put that gold from there. But an artifact, you really can't because you don't know for
the
real.
artifacts are only about 6,000 years old.
Unless it's buried with
But what
it.
if this civilization had existed way before us, like 300,000 or over 1,000,000 years ago? We actually have millions of artifacts from this time period. Archaeologists have found stone tools dating back well over 3 million years ago. There are literal fields of ancient hand axes made by other human species in Africa that are still sharp.
Wow.
This very hand axe was actually collected by a friend of mine in South Africa. In all likelihood, it is the handiwork of another human species.
See me, I would have just thought this shit was a rock. I said, yeah, this shit a rock. This is a rock. It ain't no axe, it's a rock.
It's really insane when you think about it. Stone tools last virtually forever, and so does
Right.
glass. If a civilization ever made a glass cup or a window,
It would still
we
be
could find
around.
evidence. But ceramics are a different story. Believe it or not, there is evidence of ceramics dating back to 30,000 years ago. At the site of Dolne Vestinice in Czechia, archaeologists have discovered small ceramic figurines that were superheated in furnaces.
Cave land.
They are associated with the Gravettian culture, a people that made stone tools, lived in temporary huts, and hunted megafauna. And if some random figurines made by Stone Age hunters can survive 30,000 years, so could evidence of an advanced
Yeah.
civilization.
Yeah.
But that's just not the case. Ceramic technology was never used for anything useful by the Gravettians, and they eventually abandoned the practice. It would take thousands of years for humans to rediscover ceramics first in China and gradually throughout the rest of the world. And none of this evidence suggests the
Do you think, like, in 30, 40,000 years from now, people are going to be wondering this about our civilization, you know? That's what I'm wondering too. Like, in 30,000 years, will people still be looking at this civilization or will they be looking at ours? That's a great question. What do you think?
existence of a civilization. What's more is that Randall's argument completely falls apart when we look at other forms of evidence. We have dozens of entire perfectly preserved Ice Age animals that have remained frozen for over 30,000
Yeah,
years.
but if they're frozen, they corrode.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When
3, 2, 1.
These
I bet
spears
y'all
right
gotta
here have
ask.
survived
But I was gonna say, if they're frozen, they corrode. If they're frozen, they corrode at a way lesser rate.
300,000 years in a German lake bed because they were in a low oxygen environment.
Right, water.
The Earth ate it argument collapses under scrutiny, and honestly, it is the main reason I don't believe the ancient civilization narrative. I have personally found copper artifacts dating back over 5,000 years from the old copper culture of North
That's
America.
how do you know that?
Furthermore,
how do you know that's
the lead pollution from the old copper culture is detectable in lake sediment cores, and elsewhere where ice cores have proven that there is no evidence of metallurgy during the last glacial period. If there was a lost civilization, it wasn't using metal or creating anything on par with even Bronze Age societies. We would find not only their gold, copper,
It's crazy.
ceramics,
It's crazy because back then, the bronze would protect you from the swords and all that. But imagine like somebody today with, let's say they got a Draco or an AK, they get dropped into that period where they just fighting with swords and stuff, and they got these bronze things on that. Them 7.62, 5.56 is ripping straight through all that armor. They ain't gonna know what hit them.
but also the stone for their houses. Civilizations are inherently messy.
It's just
They have
crazy
trash
how
heaps,
the mind
abandoned
advanced.
buildings, graves,
Everything
roads,
gets advanced.
and we can't point to any of that before the Ice
I don't
Age.
know, Rome. That
But
was
what
Rome.
about Göbekli Tepe? At 12,000 years old, surely it is proof of a civilization in the Ice Age. It is a legitimately massive complex full of giant stone slabs and symbolism. The culture that made this had to organize large workforces, and clearly they were culturally complex.
And that's
Does
another
this
thing.
really count as a civilization?
These people, imagine they looking at this, right? And they saying this culture did this, that, and the third. I'm not saying they're wrong because it might have writings on it, but just imagine that they saying this from 30, 40,000 years ago, right? But this from 1,000 years ago, and people just drop these stones there just because. Like, that would be crazy to think about, no?
A civilization is defined as a human society with urban settlements, division of labor, centralized government, surplus food, and some kind of record-keeping or writing system. Based on this criteria, archaeologists generally don't consider Göbekli Tepe a civilization, but rather a pre-agricultural monumental complex. No evidence of agriculture has been found at the site, nor has pottery or
So
writing
it's like
been
a bunch
found.
of rocks, bro.
Evidence
See,
suggests
no,
that it was not.
It said no pottery or no writing. So what if people just drop these stones here just because? Like 1,000 years, they saying this from 30, 40,000 years ago. What if just 1,000 years ago somebody just said, oh, let's just put these stones right here? You know what I'm saying? That would be crazy.
A urban settlement, but rather a gathering place made by hunter-gatherers. But to truly understand the site, we need to understand where it came from.
Right.
Göbekli Tepe is not the only structure of its kind. Thousands of years before Göbekli Tepe, the Natufian culture first started making permanent stone structures in the region. They hunted gazelle and harvested mass quantities of wild grains which they ground into bread. These grains were harvested in abundance and even stored for lean times. This allowed them to spend more time working on their structures and technology.
Okay.
They started making communal structures, and
See, all my
gradually,
theories, they just
larger and
slowly
larger
eating
stones were
away.
quarried
All
and
my
carved
theories,
with
they just
complex
eating away.
symbols. Eventually, after 3,000 years of development, 6 times longer than the Roman Empire, these skills culminated into larger structures like Karahan Tepe and Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe didn't appear out of nowhere, and we know a ton about the people who made it. But what about other ancient structures that may predate Göbekli Tepe by thousands
Are
of
these
years?
people called archaeologists?
Many often point to the
Who's
Eye of
that?
the
How
Sahara,
much do they get
a
paid?
25-mile wide megastructure in the middle of nowhere. It is known as the Reshat structure, and it is often claimed to be proof of the lost city of Atlantis. The concentric rings certainly make it look like Plato's.
That don't go back to a whole nother theory that I said. I forgot exactly what I said, but that's just kind of sparked my memory a little bit. But it was like yeah, I remember it was because I reacted to a video of like, why are these sea creatures so big? And I was like, and it came up. I was like, what are people back then seeing these big old sea creatures? And that's how the urban myths and legends came around. Same thing about the lost city of Atlantis. It's a legend, like, you know what I'm saying? But it really just got covered. But it's real, but it got covered. But they just make it seem like it's, you know what I'm saying, ain't what it is in these movies and stuff like that.
Description. But again, what does the evidence say? In the 1950s, it was initially hypothesized to have been an impact crater from a meteor. But more recent studies in the early 2000s found that it was a deeply eroded underground magmatic intrusion. At approximately 100 million years old, it formed during the age of the dinosaurs. But since then, humans have indeed frequented this structure for over 1 million years. The outer ring actually has deposits of quartzite, a hard and sharp material great for making stone tools. Hundreds of ancient hand axes from species like Homo erectus have been found. Later, our own species moved in and around the structure and lived there for thousands of years,
See,
especially
like,
during the
this
African
one right
humid
here?
period when there for thousands.
This one, I would just thought that was an old shark tooth. I would have never thought none of these was like no type of weapons or no spears or nothing like that. Maybe this one, but this one I would damn sure thought it was a shark tooth.
Thousands of years, especially during the African humid period when the region was lush. They left behind stone tools, burials, and fossils that have been radiocarbon dated to 10 to 15,000 years ago in the structure. The only evidence of permanent buildings are small and are still used to this day by nomadic groups which live in and around the structure. The Reshat structure holds an unbroken record of human activity spanning over 1 million years. Not one moment of it looks like a
Do y'all
civilization.
think like
If it was once a
the people that still live, like the primitive people that still live and go about all these old ways, do y'all think they protect these? Like the people that live in the woods, the Amazon, even here, do y'all think they're protecting this? Because a lot of these people, like the Sentinel group, they attack anybody that come in that forest or whatever it is. Do y'all think they're protecting something? I don't know. What y'all think?
city the size of Paris, surely there would be some compelling evidence to discuss. The Earth-aided argument is not going to cut it. But we still haven't answered the question. Why did humans suddenly start to farm in about 6 independent centers
Exactly.
all around 10,000 years ago?
Why did they do that?
It
And
is
how
a
did they decide
legitimately
we needed to do
interesting
that?
question. Looking at the map of where these cultures appears make it seem like Graham may actually have a point. But the answer is simpler than you might think. Look at this graph. During the last glacial period, the climate was all over the place. The only thing constant was cold temperatures.
Right.
But when this period ended roughly 12,000 years ago, the Earth suddenly warmed. And more importantly, the climate stabilized. This made the environment much more predictable. Humans could finally rely on certain plants in certain locations year after year. This led to increased cultivation, dedicated crop fields, and eventually the plants themselves became domesticated,
Okay.
becoming easier to plant and producing more calories.
So since
The
the
reason
weather
that
got
this-
more predictable, that's why we got a weather channel now, I'm guessing, since it got more predictable. Because where I live at, they said it was going to be a drought, but it's rained every day.
This transition occurred in 6 different centers is
I need to
because
watch
the
a video on how they
entire
predict the
world
weather,
became
bro.
warmer and more predictable. Human progress has exploded
That's
ever
so beautiful,
since.
bro.
I'm not convinced that there is evidence for a lost civilization. If you are, tell me in the comment
don't think
section and
so.
I'll look into it. As
No.
of now, the evidence supports that humans were able to figure out agriculture all
Right.
around the world independently. Just like chimps didn't need anyone to teach them how to use stone tools over 4,300 years ago. And some have even started flint knapping. So are chimps entering their own stone age? Watch.
Man, I just love to learn. If you love to learn, press the like button. But if y'all enjoyed that video, make sure you like, comment, and if you're new, subscribe. I'm gonna leave a link to this video down below so you can go watch it on your own without me pausing and without me talking over it. But enjoy your day. Until next time.